Hi guys, it's Dom here from Soundsphere magazine. Just had a wonderful chat a little while ago with Marley from Glam Goth Beauty, talking about cosmetics and her experience in the industry, starting her own business, Glam Goth Beauty, getting into Hot Topic, and her journey basically to get to where she is now. So this was a lovely interview. I'm really glad that we got to do this. Marley's a fantastic human being, and I hope you really enjoy the interview. It was a pleasure to do, and yeah, we'll see you guys again soon. Thank you for watching. Cheers. What you're doing with Glam Goth Beauty is amazing, and obviously it seems to be inspiring a lot of people. You've become quite the success in terms of obviously not just what you were doing before that, but obviously since you've built the business. And I kind of wanted to ask you, Marley, the first question I have for you is, how do you define success, and how has that definition changed since before you started the business and the work you were doing to when you started Glam Goth Beauty?
That's a good question. That's a loaded question.
It is.
I think my definition of success, for one, is just like, I don't know the term for it, but like my inner child, that
Mm.
loved to dress up and loved horror and loved, all those different things. And I got to like fulfill that dream and fulfill that fantasy. And then, of course, as you get older, you want to good, stable environment. And I think that that's one thing. I grew up in Virginia. I grew up in, the not so good part of town. And to be able to, I kind of always had this thing, oh, Marley, she's such a, she's kind of a ditz, where is she gonna go in life? And then to be able to move to LA and kind of ground myself here, I think is my definition of success. And also, just throughout all the jobs that I had with retail and
Mm.
waitressing, the fact that I can get up and I'm the one that tells myself what to do every single day,
Yeah.
I think that that is the definition of success for me. I don't really like the bags and the shoes. I've always loved that, the clothing and the glamour. I've always loved that, but you can you can do that with no matter amount of money that you have. I think as you get more successful, yes, of course, you start buying more expensive shoes and expensive bags. But I think that as a woman, like you can go anywhere and get shoes and bags. So I would definitely say those two things: fulfilling my inner childhood dream and the fact that I'm my own boss, for
Mm.
sure.
Absolutely, and obviously, you display a lot of confidence when you're doing your videos and you're doing the makeup, and obviously, again, a lot of people have picked up on you. You've managed to inspire a lot of people with your videos and give them confidence as well. Have you always had that? Where did you find your confidence? Was it something that you were born with, or is it something that has developed over your life?
Oh, I definitely think confidence is something that you build. I've
Mm.
definitely built it for myself. Being in Virginia, my parents are from Africa, so first immigrant child, and then liking alternative things, but still liking like, hood urban things, and like never really finding like my place. And then just I won't say just one day, but just like I feel like you go through a process where you're just like, you know what? I'm not happy. I need to be myself. And I think with every criticism, all like, the bullying and stuff like that, it really does give you confidence and make you stronger. And I, I don't know. It's so weird because I get that question so much. And I think it's just, you just build it as you go. And
Mm.
then sometimes you even got to fake it. Some days you're not feeling your best and you're just like, look, let me put a wig on, let me put some lipstick on, and let me just act like I'm the baddest bitch. And hopefully maybe around lunchtime, it'll hit me sooner or later. And I can
Yeah.
definitely say too, with my parents, like my
Mm.
dad was really into like rock and roll. And that's,
Mm.
I feel like, as a young Black child, that's not something very like common. But like the fact that I could like hang out with him and we would listen to his records. And like he would always tell me, like this was the best song like in the 80s and stuff like that. And just seeing him staying true to who he was, and then my mom too, just how she was and her staying true to who they were, definitely gave me confidence.
Absolutely, and it's wonderful to hear that as well. One of the things that really stood out to me in reading previous interviews with you, but also looking at the site and how it's laid out, there is there is a sort of a focus on accessibility. Now, so I have a cerebral palsy, so I've struggled with accessibility, a little bit of bullying and things like that when I was younger, especially for being alternative, and I wanted to know whether you know catering for people with difference or disability, or obviously people that are I guess going against the grain a little bit. Was that something you wanted to do when you started the business, or is it something that's really developed? Because people are coming to you. I've read some comments and people are saying, you've given me the the power almost to be the person I want to be, against the grain a little bit, if that makes sense. I'm sorry, I've gone a little long-winded with that question.
No, I totally got it. Definitely, for sure. I always feel like the whatever it is, whatever difference that you have, like that is your power. You know what I'm saying? Like the people who are different, we are the underdogs. And I always felt that like no matter what you like, no matter who you are, even if you're not alternative, even if you're whatever, you could be a plain Jane regular person. I want you to be able to come to Glam Goth Beauty and find something for you. My whole, like the whole reason I do this is for people to know that like I am a safe place. I am not going to tear you down. I don't care if you don't even wear makeup, buy a hat. You know what I'm saying? Like there's going to be something for you, and I stand for you. And I want to be like the reason why you like sit up straight. You know what I mean? Like, sorry, I feel like I'm like getting emotional, but
No, carry on, please. Yeah.
um that's one thing that like always stood out to me, because I feel like now today people see me today and they don't know really where I come from, and just how not insecure, but how like maybe timid I used to be in like
Mm,
really putting myself out there. You know
mm,
what I mean? Because I do have ADHD. I do like, have like some behavioral, like tics and things like that. And just, just be normal, sit down, stay to yourself, things like that. And then creating something where no matter what it is that you like, that you can feel like you're in a safe place too. And then my little brother, he's also autistic.
mm.
So that to me, like, I just feel like I'm a person, I just don't care. You know what I mean? Like whatever it is that you have, embrace it and love it and let that be your superpower.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Sorry, that was all over the
it's
place.
a wonderful message, and that moves on nicely to my next question. Another reason why I've asked you here today is that part of my day job is I work with a lot of young people who, again, have different disability. Maybe they're dealing with a particular mental health issue, and they have these dreams. They want to either work in the music industry or they want to work in fashion and the arts, and they think, they might look at you and be like, "Oh, I'm never going to be like Marley. I'm never going to have a product like Glam Goth Beauty," and they really struggle to get out of bed in the morning. So, what is your message to those people that are really struggling to find that motivation? What is it that you do on your worst days when when you struggle to get out of bed? How do you stay motivated? And what is your message to anybody that might be listening or watching this who takes inspiration from what you do?
I think we can't think about it too much.
Mm, mm,
You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people, myself included, we're in our own heads, and where we just feel like this sense of loneliness and, oh, I do everything. Like my spiel is, oh, I got to do everything myself. I don't have the help. I don't have this and I don't have that. And I'm like, if I just get up and just go through the motions, I will eventually start to get better. And if I don't, it doesn't even fucking matter, because I got up. But granted too, I feel like we also got to cater to the mental health issues too. Like if I don't feel like getting out of bed, I'm not going to fucking get up until I'm ready. You know what
mm.
I mean? And if that takes even, they say, the CEOs and the billionaires, they get up at like 5 a.m. That's never been me. I'm not a morning person. I hate waking up early. So if it even takes me getting out of bed at 2 p.m., I got up. You know what I mean? Like, and that to me is a win. That's
That's
a win.
awesome. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I can't bullshit that, like, you know, I get up, I go to the gym, I do this, and I thought it's not every day. It's not every day. I don't want to be Jeff Bezos. I don't want to be Elon Musk. I don't want to be Kim Kardashian. I want to be the best that I can be and support other people in being the best that they can be. And that to me is like my billionaire success story. You know what I mean? If I can get up and feed my cats and, you know, make a sale and do, you know, little things that I need to do, I've won for the day. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like our expectations when we compare ourselves to people are just too high, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, and certainly that's something I come across quite a lot. And one of the other things, again, because of your experience, you know, in the business, but also before as a makeup artist, as someone that has, you know, has worked on so many different things, you know, you've done some incredible stuff with your time. What kind of advice would you give to anyone who wants to get into the industry that's from, you know, maybe an area that isn't necessarily associated with, you know, maybe they live outside of London, for example, in the UK, where most of our industry is for makeup and creative stuff. Someone that lives in a smaller area, someone that is thinking, oh, well, you know, I don't live in LA, I don't live in London. How does someone get noticed as a makeup artist? And what would you like to see from somebody if they were trying, you know, if they were trying to impress you, for example, Marley, what kind of skills would you like to see from someone?
I just love to see authenticity
Mm,
and throw some fantasy in there. Like, generally speaking, we are living in, you know, somebody else's fantasy. Create your own fantasy, create your own luxury. Show me that, like, you just go for it. You know what I mean? I feel like we as a consumer, we go off of other people's ideas. I don't have a creative team. I am the creative team. You know what I mean? So, like, make some mood boards, make some lists, like, do some preparation. You know what I mean? And then just be confident and go for it. Like, sometimes you just got to do it. You know, like, there's so many times that I've gone into things that I don't know what the fuck I was doing, but I'm just gonna sell it like I know. Sometimes you really gotta fake it till you make it, you know what I mean? But definitely inspiration. Listen to some motivational speeches. I do that every single morning. I just put on YouTube and just listen to people who just have done something with their lives. And it doesn't have to be a billionaire. It could just be a mother who created a small business. It could be a woman who sells, like, picnic baskets. I don't give a fuck about picnic baskets, but I want to hear how she does it, and she gets up and she strives for what she wants. And I think that, to me, like, that type of authenticity is so powerful.
mm, absolutely, and I think that authenticity is there with the work that you do and how you come across on your videos and in your products. And I do want to say that's amazing that you're in the situation you're in. I do want to ask though, because again, we are in a very you know, it's all about how you look and how you know, present yourself in this day and age. And I want to talk about mistakes, because a lot of times when you speak to these people like yourself who are successful, who have achieved a lot in their industry, people forget to mention the mistakes and things that they do on the way up that they struggle with. So for anybody who wants to get into the industry, what mistakes should somebody avoid? Perhaps you can reference something you've done or in something you've seen somebody else do. What key things would you not want to see from anybody trying to get into the industry?
I think that my biggest mistakes are bringing in people because I had this self-doubt.
Mm,
I've had this self-doubt that, like, I need somebody who knows what they're doing. I need somebody. And what happens is it's an open invitation for people who just want what you have and not necessarily really want to help you. Because when people do see what you have, they don't know what it took to get there. And it just leads to just more inside voices and more self-doubt than you already had in the beginning.
mm.
So my biggest thing is, people don't even know, I've had over 4, like, business partners that I've eventually had to let go because it just wasn't it wasn't working out.
Mm.
And instead of me realizing that I am the boss and I am the CEO and I'm the one who built this, I let people overshadow me and I
Mm.
let people get inside my head. And I'm an alternative brand. That's how I started. I wanted alternative people to have their sense of place. And I let people who don't even care about alternative people or like the mental health issues that we face and just come in and just try to just downplay what I'm doing. And I think that to answer your question, you're gonna make mistakes and there's really nothing you can do but just keep moving forward and
Mm.
making sure you learn, because you're gonna keep going through the same mistakes over and over and over again until you get that shit right. So I definitely wanna say is just knowing your power and
Mm.
knowing that when you've got the title, you are in control. You can listen to feedback all day, but it's ultimately up to you to make the decision.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I like that. I like that sense of power. So if if you were a superhero of any kind, or well, what would your power be? It just came to me there. That wasn't a planned question, but I like it. I like the idea of power there. So what is your power? Not in terms of like a comment, but in terms of what you have available to you, the powers you have available to you, Marley. What are your powers? Things that you are very proud of, that you are able to do, you're able to give other people, you're able to provide the world with.
Thank you. I think, well, one of my favorite, she's actually a villain, is Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
And I just love that, like, her life is kind of just like shit, she's just running around in her skimpy ass outfits, but she just finds a way to like make it funny and make
Mm.
it a joke. She doesn't take things so seriously. And when she does, she's like on to the next thing, she's very like that. And then also I love Rogue from X-Men, the fact that she can just touch you and take all your power, because I'm somebody that I like to do things myself. I like to be like this Renaissance woman. I feel like women, we kind of get this sense of like, oh, we need a sugar daddy. We need this, we need that. And I love to, do things by myself. And I wish I could just, go to like some meeting and like go touch like a CEO's head and like drain all his knowledge. And I'm like, okay, I could go run my business now. Like, if anything, I wish I had that superpower, but I would definitely say my superpower is resilience.
Mm.
I've
Mm.
been down and out lots of times. There's been times where I have had no money. There's times where I let my mental health get the best of me. And I do have ADHD. I don't take
Mm.
medication for it. And I'm scared that it's going to take away my creativity. So I feel like I have to push myself so much harder if I just
Yeah.
would have, you know what I mean? So definitely my resilience for sure. Just when you fall, how fast can you get the fuck back up? And I think that anybody who struggles with mental illness knows that that is not easy. And I've been able to do it time and time and time and time again. And
Mm.
it's almost like second nature. I take a day to get to feel what I'm feeling. I think self-awareness too.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are not self-aware. And I know when like a depressive episode is coming. I know when I just want to listen to Deftones and drink wine all day. I'm like, okay, I need to schedule a day where I just feel like shit. So the next day I could go back, I can do what I need to do. And I think that that's so important. And you can take all of that and put it into your art and put it into your brand. Art doesn't always have to be so happy, and it doesn't always have to be so depressive. There can be, that interchanging middle ground that you can find. And if it works, it works. Just do what you feel. Sorry, that
Absolutely.
was all over the place.
No, I love it. I love it. I also have an ADHD diagnosis, so I appreciate the I appreciate the thought process, and thank you for your honesty as well. Before we go and talk about, we're going to talk about music and influences outside of business. I
Yeah.
think one of the things that I'd also like to talk to you about is because you had a bunch of different jobs. I know you worked in Mac before you did before you started the business, so you have obviously worked in the makeup industry before, but you've also had other jobs too. And a lot of people I find, maybe they're working on art at home, or maybe they're working on music at home, or maybe they've got a mood board for makeup at home, but they're working as a waitress, working as a waiter, or whatever, and they're not sure about those transferable skills. Now, obviously, so you can include Mac in this and your makeup work as well, because I know you do. You have the agency stuff, but what transferable skills from your previous work and the other stuff you do helps you with the day-to-day running of Glam Goth Beauty?
Definitely waitressing. I was always so self-conscious, like walking up to people and I'm going to be giving them their food. But it taught me so much about how to be a people person and taught me so much about customer service. And as much as, I would be waitressing and you get that family that's just, you got the kids running around, and it's taught me so much patience and then just giving the customer what they want. You know what I mean? Just making them happy so they'll leave you alone.
Yeah.
And I want to go back to my very first job. I got my first job at 13 years old because I wanted to shop at Hot Topic, and my mom was like, absolutely not. I
Yeah.
was like, I'm gonna make my own money. And I remember working at Cold Stone and just handling money. I've never really touched money before, and just those little things about like learning how to count. You know what I mean? Like counting money, giving back change. Hi, how are you? Like that customer service, I never really would have thought how much it would help me today. Because that's one thing, like when I get an email about, let's say somebody got a lipstick and the lipstick broke, I'm like, I am so sorry, just making them feel special and important, because everyone wants to feel like that. No one wants to feel like they're a burden to you, especially when they bought something, they paid their money to you, and their shit's fucked up, and you're acting like like this person doesn't matter. So I would definitely say customer service and patience for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And I also, working at Mac, I got a good look at like the higher ups, like the managers and the CEOs, and how they would come in and everybody's got to act like they're doing something. You know what I mean? Just the sense of their presence. And I always felt like I need to have a presence like that. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily like that whole like, oh, I'm a bitch, even though I draw on angry eyebrows, but just that presence that people have, that, I'm here and you need to, what I say is important.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you how to do your job right so you can move up in the company. And I had one manager that, she was so cool. She was the best. She actually hired me for Mac. But when she would come in, you could almost like feel her come in.
Right.
Like she was that, like her presence was that strong. And I always like strive to have a presence like that. And sometimes it can be unwarranted, when you feel like everybody's watching you, everybody needs direction. But I think that if you could turn it into, hey, I've got this sense of presence that people need, because it does start at the top. I've got this sense of presence that people need to do to perform well. I need to carry that correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. So that commanding presence that you're talking about,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. Again, I just want to squeeze one in around sort of highlights and stuff, because you mentioned, again, with some of your other work, you've been able to, travel around, you've done lots of glamorous things, award ceremonies, etc. What are the sort of things that, when you finish up, many, many, many years from now, what are the kind of things that you'll look back on and be like, holy shit, I can't believe I got to do that. Like, this is, because again, I'm sure there are plenty of those for you. So Marley, could you give me a couple where you're like, man, I can't believe that happened. That's so cool,
I want to say my biggest achievement was getting into Hot Topic.
Yeah.
And I remember during the pandemic, I'm like, I don't really know how to cook that well. So I like made eggs for dinner, and I'm like laying on the floor, watching a horror movie. And I'm just like, I'm picking up my phone, like, and then getting that email and just feeling this shift
Of
of like,
course.
holy shit, like I'm in this bitch. And I got up immediately and I just stood up. I just stood up. I didn't know what to do with myself. And that kind of just was like, just like a full circle moment. Because remember, I told you the whole reason I got a job is so I could work so I could buy stuff at Hot Topic. And then to know that like I was gonna be in Hot Topic, and then I'm like, immediately got down to business. I'm like, okay, this is what they want. Like, this is like legit, you know what I'm saying? I was like selling stuff out of my like living room. And I'm like, okay, they need this paperwork. I need this type of insurance. And just all of that, I think like when I'm like 50 years old, looking back at like the store, that the whole reason why I got a job, that store wants to have me in their store is like phenomenal.
Amazing, amazing, and lovely to, again, so lovely to hear about that. You know, and again, what is capable, you know, what you're capable of, just working out of your living room and then getting that email. You know, the quality
Yes.
of your work. Again, that is, you know, it's amazing that you've been able to do that outside then of work, because you mentioned a couple of music, like you mentioned Deftones, for example. You mentioned obviously your love of horror, which I know you've talked about before. But can you give me some of your when you are in the best mood? Let's do a couple of moods. When you're in the best mood, what's your go-to for music? What's your go-to for movies? What kind of stuff do you really draw from?
Wow, when I'm in a good mood, I don't know. I love lately, I feel like because of all the outside noise, I love like chill
Yeah.
music. I love like Kings of Leon, just things that I can play in the background and it just makes me feel good. And I also listen to a lot of the music I grew up on. Like I love Paramore. Lately been listening to a lot of like old Fall Out Boy. I
Yeah.
think I'm like, damn, like life was so much simple then. You know what I mean? Just getting that like, like getting that energy back. I also love like Florence and the Machine, just people with voices that could just like touch your spirit. Of course, love Deftones. I love, oh my God, why am I having such a brain fart?
It's okay. Yeah, it happens. It's one of those. One of those questions. Absolutely. Like a nice happy medium between what you between say like what you were talking about earlier and also Deftones is. Have you heard Crosses before? The electronic music that Chino Moreno does with.
No, I've
Um,
never heard of that.
it's called Crosses. I think they did a track called, one of their first tracks was called Bitches Brew, and it's like a nice happy medium between like the chill out stuff. It's quite dark in places,
I love
but check out Crosses. I'll send you a link.
Yeah,
It's
please. I would love that. Send me a whole playlist. I
yeah.
love music and I love new music. And I don't have I mean, granted, alternative music is my favorite. And I love, you know,
Mm,
gothic music. I love Susie Sue and I love
mm.
like all of that stuff. But I just put my playlist on shuffle and I feel the vibe. And I feel like that like type of spontaneousness is what like keeps me going, you know, because when you play the same thing over and over and over and over, life kind of gets a little dull. So I usually like to just put it on shuffle and see what the day's going to bring me. So send me whatever you want,
Absolutely.
honestly.
Absolutely. I am going to ask you to pick one out, a motivational tune, your favorite, like if you can think of one or two favorite motive, like tunes that like, again, like, you know, if you have like a bunch of emails to answer or a bunch of orders to fulfill or something stressing, what is your motivational tune, like the tune that you like, you know, really gets you moving?
Okay, this is very like unconventional, but I love like Future and 21 Savage.
Okay.
I love just like that hustle music. And then like complete opposite, what's something I listen to the most?
I put you on the spot. I apologize, Marley.
No, it's okay
It's one
because
of those.
it's always something different. I want to say lately Suicide Boys.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
do, yeah, like that type. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like I need like that man, like grungy, like spirit to like get me to like get my ass up and do stuff. There's something just like powerful in it that I love. But lately though, it's forever changing. There was a time, especially during the pandemic, I was listening to a Skylit Drive.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that
Yeah.
band?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because I was like, I listened to them in high school, but not really. And then a lot of like Bring Me the Horizon,
Yeah.
just like bands that like I would listen to in high school, but I was too like, not scared, but I was just like, I would go to my room and listen to it. And
Yeah.
then when I would hang out with my friends and it would be a whole different vibe. Like I would hang out with my friends and like listen to rap music and then go to my room and listen to Grateful Dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just that sense of just like, oh, nobody can know that I listen to this type of music. And now today I find myself going back to all the music that I listened to in high school, but just like I'll put it in my story or I'll put it in the background of like the products that I'm selling. And it just feels so good. Wow, that's the first time I've like acknowledged that I do that. It's so weird.
It's cool, man. It's honestly a pleasure to talk to you through these things, because I know what you mean. Like when you got to think about these things, and and you're like, oh, what do I listen to there? But I had the same thing, like, because again, people kind of, especially if you, I guess sometimes the way I look, if I'm, because I walk with two sticks, people sometimes are like, oh, you'll be a certain way, or you'll be into a certain type of thing. So people,
Yeah.
I always weirded people out, because I was a massive, well, I still am a massive goth, to be fair. But people, when I was younger, and the way I used to dress and stuff, people be like, I did not expect that from you. So yeah, it's I get what you mean. It's cool. But what I'm hearing is you've found that confidence to really kind of take that person that was in the bedroom and really bring
And
that,
bring,
yeah,
yes,
bring out to the world. Yeah.
exactly. Yes.
I love it. And it's great. Again, good. What a wonderful position to be in. Before we finish up, you mentioned obviously horror films as well. Is there anything that you can go back to and watch over and over again, that you love?
I love Halloween.
Mm.
Just like now, I remember being young and be like, this is the scariest movie I've ever seen. And now I put it on when I'm like watching dinner. Like I find all like the funny parts in it. I love like just stupid horror. Like I love Scream. I
Yeah.
love just like things that I'm just like, what is this dumb bitch doing? You know what I mean? Like that type of like comedy I love. I don't know what it is. It just makes me feel good. But I also love like The Conjuring too, because anything supernatural, I'm always like on the fence about, because not to be like whatever, because I don't really believe in ghosts. So like I love to like watch it. I don't really believe in like demons and stuff like that. I just feel like the concept of it is like cool, you know? So to see like we'll do like fantasy quote unquotes and how they can like make a movie out of it, I think is like so gnarly. So I love The Conjuring. I loved Scream. And then I love movies like Hellraiser too,
Yeah.
just like the aesthetic of it. Just I
Absolutely.
love like that grungy, gritty, just filthy type of horror, because I didn't grow up like that. Like I didn't grow up like I wasn't allowed really to watch things like that.
Yeah.
And to find it for myself, even like I think like The Exorcist was like the first horror movie that I watched. And I remember my mom saying, like, if you watch this, like evil spirit, you're gonna unleash like some evil shit. And I'm like, I'm watching it now. And then to why I watched it again like a week ago. And I'm just like, this movie is hilarious. Just like finding like the humor in all the things that I used to be scared of is what I think is why I continue to love horror movies.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things, because I'm always like, it could happen. People like that does, I get quite, I've got that morbid curiosity about horror. You know what I mean? People are like, don't worry, but that's not. I'm like, it could happen. There's no 100% reason that
Right.
somebody could dress up in a Halloween mask and walk at a snail's pace, but they're coming to. They're coming to get you. It's not impossible. So that's always my argument. Well, I do want to pick up on something you mentioned a couple of times, and that was, because again, it's something I hear a lot about, people inheriting the values of their parents a lot, and kind of it stunting their kind of growth because they think they should live a certain way. And you mentioned your parents, obviously you respect them a lot, but also, there was a lot of, you shouldn't shop in Hot Topic, and you shouldn't watch that kind of movie. Did that kind of prompt you at all to go ahead and do it? Was that was it kind of a rebellious thing, or was it something else?
100% rebellious,
Okay.
100,000%. My mom knew that if she told me not to do it, I would go ahead and do
Yeah.
it. For sure. And I think just what I admire most about my parents is that they had their own thing going on. And for me to like, you know, kind of, because I was raised, okay, let's, my dad loves, rock and roll
Yeah.
and jazz and all that stuff. And then my mom like soft rock and like glam, Elizabeth Taylor. And I really feel like I'm a product of them, but just in today's modern day society. And me and my mom, we would clash because I'm just like, I'm literally you in a leather jacket. Like, and she just wouldn't comprehend, you know what I mean? Like, I remember when I was 16 and I wanted to get a tattoo. And one thing about my mom I really admire too is when she wants something, she does it. So when I wanted a tattoo at 16, I put it in my head, oh, I'm getting this tattoo. Whether you're there with me signing the paper or where I've got to forge your name or something. So I definitely think that just like that will that will like that I'm when I want to do something, I'm not going to stop till I do it. Sometimes, doesn't always work out, but just that like willpower that they have for sure. For
uh,
sure. And they're great taste, I want to say. I remember Pink Floyd is my dad's favorite band. And I remember just listening to the band with my dad. And then that wasn't cool back then. And then all of a sudden people were wearing Pink Floyd t-shirts and the Ramones t-shirts. And I was like, what? This is cool. Like, this is cool now. So just like having that sense of like, yeah, you should come over. We can listen to like these bands and like going downstairs to my dad's basement and just having all these records and people being like, whoa. And I'm like, yeah, I'm finally cool. Like just that sense of just like that authenticity and staying true. I really hope that I don't ever lose that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, wonderful to hear about those experiences, and thank you for sharing them with me.
Of course.
As we wind it up, again, we're in the UK and you do ship to the UK, but what is your message for people that are, that are hearing your message? Maybe they're reading interviews, maybe they're listening to you talk, and, people in the UK that have, I guess people in general as well, because it's, hopefully we'll be seen by a few more people as well from all over the place. So in
Yes.
general, what is your message to the people that have supported you through your work and will continue to do so?
My message to you is just don't take life so seriously. Just get up every day and do your best. And that's really all you can do. Nothing is promised. Nothing is promised. You can reach all your goals and your dreams. And there will always be like that sense of like, I'm not good enough. I need this, I need that, and I need that. Just find little things every day to be grateful for. And I promise it will make your day so much better. Also keep finding that inspiration, keep finding that motivation, try to stay disciplined and just listen to motivational speeches. It could even be like, I love Paramore. Sometimes I'll put on some of her interviews and, I'm not in a band, but I just listening to her talk and just hearing her. Sometimes it's not even about what they're saying. It's just the aura of how they're saying it. You know what I mean? So just constantly tuning in and God, like there's just so much I could say, but just finding ways to be grateful and staying grounded, staying authentic, staying true to yourself, not comparing yourself to anyone. That is success. Fuck the bags, fuck the shoes, fuck the jewelry. Finding ways to find pure bliss, finding a good group of friends, playing your favorite music. There's nothing's gonna compare to that. Nothing in the world. And get a cat, get a
Yeah.
pet, get something that's going to give you unconditional love so you can find a sense of purpose for. Because I don't have kids, but I treat my cats like my kids. And they really, if my cat's not in my face meowing at me to get up, I probably wouldn't get up most days. So,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
just also too, finding someone, it doesn't necessarily has to be me, but finding someone that is doing what you want to do, or maybe the way that they're doing it, and watch them,
Mm.
study them, study your favorite person. You may not see their morning routine, but you do see how, okay, she does it this way, and find a way to make it your own. And I
Yeah.
promise you, life will get so much easier. I swear to God, because life is hard.
Absolutely, absolutely. It is. And I guess there's no typical day for you, Marley. Like, what do you give me? Like, obviously, you mentioned your cats normally get you up in the morning, but what does a day look like for you? Is there a typical day, or is it different every day? I'm assuming so.
It is different every day, but a typical day is I wake up, I try to at least stretch, do some working out, and then I listen to a motivational speech. And I didn't always do that, but I sometimes, because I live alone, I'm usually by myself, and not a sense of loneliness, but always being alone. I'm always in my
Mm,
head. So I'm like, okay, I need somebody to like tell me, I got this, I can do this, like finding that sense of something, and listening to music for sure. And then I get on social media. I read comments, and just that, like, the support pushes me way more than anybody like could ever imagine. Just knowing that, like, I watched you while I was getting ready. Like, I'm like, oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And then I go to my office downtown. It's usually just me and my assistant, and then we'll put on a horror movie, or we'll put on just some stupid trash reality TV. And that sense of like bonding while working, because capitalism, is a machine, unfortunately a beast that we've got to like succumb to. But just us with some trash TV in the background is, it really makes my day. And then, maybe I'll do some shopping. I might go to a bar. I live in Hollywood, so I might go to like a shitty rock and roll bar, have a drink, or me and my friend Morgan, we've become good friends actually, and she runs her own brand. So we'll just sit and talk about the bullshit, the bullshit that we've got to deal with on a daily basis. So definitely finding those little connections throughout my day to ground me is, I think is what keeps my day good. And I feel like a little bit of chaos is good for the soul. I've always been like, I used to substance abuse, and I used to go out and party, and I'm always like, oh, now I don't have the body for that. I don't have the energy for that anymore. But I've realized that I've managed to find chaos in a different way, but
yeah,
it's a lot more healthier.
yeah.
So I think that just finding little things that you're maybe scared to do or stuff like that will just keep you, I don't know, just keep life interesting. Like you today, like having an interview with you today, I didn't, it's kind of just like, you send me an email, and I'm like, oh, something new to do. I cannot fathom like like a routine every day is the same. Like some days I'll work out, I'm really healthy, and some days I'm like, fuck that. I don't want to do that. I feel like routine will like kill your spirit, for me anyway. For me
Yeah,
anyway.
absolutely.
Yeah.
The self-employed lifestyle is very chaotic. It's true. Yeah,
Yes.
it is the chaos. And okay, the last question then is the plugging one. What have you got coming up that you can tell us about? Any projects? Obviously, where do you want people to find you? What stuff can you share with us that you've got coming up that you want to plug?
Oh, okay. Well, first I'll say I do have an expansion of beauty products coming. I'm working on a blush palette that's going to be really fun. It's very Shakespearean inspired. To me, I think this is probably the most gothic thing I've done. And I want to show like the softer side to goth, which is the romanticism of but like the dark romance of what goth is, because I feel like the outside perception is that goth is so dark and bleak and we hate everything, but in reality is we find the beauty in the darkness. So
Hmm.
I'm really excited about that. Definitely more jewelry. I did this for the Lily Munster collection, so I
Really
have more
cool.
jewelry
Yeah.
is coming. Thank you. I really want to be kind of like this luxury designer jewelry, but kind of like a more evil villain thing. I'm like, okay, I have a meeting today. This is me being a businesswoman, but I look like an evil villain. So just more like staying in the fantasy stuff. Also clothing for sure. I want to bring in my own clothing that I'm getting manufactured, but we're also bringing in corsets and fishnets and just basic pieces that you can wear every day and like throw on a leather jacket. I really want to simplify what it means to like, I really want to simplify style for other people. I find it kind of almost soul crushing when people come to me and they're like, oh, I can't dress like you. And I want to, wear the outfits that you wear. And I'm just like, okay, I now know what my other purpose is. I've got to bring in fashion with beauty and somehow be able to merge the two while still staying true to the brand.
Absolutely.
Also, I want to start throwing events. Hopefully we'll get to the UK. Yeah, but just having really cool events where everybody can come, even like family friendly. I'm right now I'm trying to plan maybe like some cosplay events or like something in the cemetery, even maybe bringing some like music artists, just like full expansion of the safe place that I was talking about. And I see other people do it and I'm like, okay, I can do it and I could put a spin on it and make it my own. And another thing that I also want to say, it's a lot, I know.
Please do. No, carry on. Yeah.
But I was reading Elvira's book, Elvira's memoir, and I what an iconic woman, 40 years in the game, got the same look, the same aesthetic, never switched it up, and she's still running the Gothic game. And I loved how she had like this talk show and it was like the horror talk show. And I want to do that, but maybe just expand it so it's more like lifestyle. We're talking about, mental health issues. We're talking about our favorite horror movies. We're talking about, scenarios. We're talking just about everything about life. I want to do Q&As. I want to maybe even bring people in as guest hosts. I really want to lift the curtain on what it means to be alternative, but still just living life. You know what I mean? And I feel like sorry, I'm talking so much.
No, I love it. Carry on.
I feel like the outside perception of being a business owner and being well put together is that I'm very superficial, and I kind of want to switch it up and like, no, I'm chill. I'm cool. I can talk, I can hold a conversation, and I can also just be not so serious all the time. I feel like when you run a business or whatever it is what you're doing, whether it's you're editing videos, you've got to focus in and focus. So I would love to bring something fun to my brand and my YouTube channel and all the other stuff. And then where people can find me is at the Glam Goth on literally at all the socials, every social. And the brand is at Glam Goth Beauty. And my website is glamgothbeauty.com.
Fantastic. Well, I can't wait to see you, Marley, if in the UK, if you come back. Have you got anywhere you'd like to visit in the UK? Have you been before?
I want to come to the UK so bad. Oh, I've got to make a trip. Maybe I'm thinking maybe in December, maybe for like New Year's or something, because I don't want to be here. I don't want to bring in the new year in America. So maybe we can do that then. I think that would be really fun.
Absolutely. We'll do part 2 in the UK. That'd be awesome. Be really cool.
Now I definitely got to come. I'm coming.
Fantastic, Marley. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.